You know, like The Rock's first match, Bret Hart's first match in WWE, Ricky Steamboat's first match in WWE, Mark Henry's first match in WWE, Ultimate Warrior, another story. I wrestled him 47 consecutive days in a row. They come up to me in the middle of the match and they say, in the middle of the one of the matches, and before it happens, they say, "We're going to tell Warrior that he's doing a job for you tonight, just to test his attitude, to see if we're going to give him the push."
Right.
He was the Dingo Warrior before the Ultimate Warrior.
Right.
So I liked Jim. He was a good guy, which he changed his name to Warrior. But I took him in the room. I said, "Jim, you shouldn't be doing this, but I'm telling you right now, they're gonna test your attitude, and they're going to ask you to lose to me. Please say anything you want, I'll do." I says, "Don't snap and say, no, I won't do it." And he listened to me, and he did it, and they ran with it. And then he got on the outs with the company, and then later he was in the Hall of Fame. He made up with the company. Then I walked into his dressing room, and he was alone, and he started crying. He goes, I was just thinking about you. He goes, "That fucking DVD they put out, they all knocked me, but you were the only one that talked good about me." He goes, "And you better prepare to stand up when I bring up the story." I said, "Jim, please don't bring up the story." I said, "The story, I'm working for the company. They're going to say, we can't tell him nothing because I told you." I said, "Please don't." And he went, fuck, it was 30 years ago. I said, "Yeah, Jim, it was 30 years ago, but, you know, I'm still here." You know what I mean? And I don't want to be known as the guy that told somebody something that they didn't tell, which I don't care now because it's out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically, that was like a test to see if he was, you know, a prima donna or he'd go with the program. And I don't know if he, to this day, I don't even know if he would, but he actually accepted. He listened to my advice.
That's awesome. For that DVD, did they give you any direction, or they just asked you regular questions? Because, I mean, it's obviously it was a negative light on the Warrior, but you were the guy who had nothing but glowing things to say about him.
Yeah, I was. They gave me questions. I was the producer because I was in charge of. They called it the pre-tape room back then, and I was in charge of the pre-tape room because I had a good rapport with all the wrestlers, and they knew I could get them in there to do anything. So basically, I would sit diagonally to the wrestler. They would sit next to me, in front of me, and I would ask them questions. And then I put myself in the seat. Then I would say the question out loud, and I would answer the question on my own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I put myself on every DVD I can, which paid residuals, obviously, to this day. But Warrior appreciated it, but he's just very high strung, very, very temperamental. You know what I mean? Like he was in a private dressing room. He'd walk in the dressing room. You know, everybody shakes hands and this and that. Warrior goes, "Are you allowed to curse, right?"
Sure.
He goes, "Fuck, I just seen you yesterday. I'm not going to shake your hand again. What is this bullshit? We got to shake each other's hands every day." It was like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he liked me. He would tell me. He would go, "Steve, you dress in my dressing room with me." You know, he liked me and I liked him. You know what I mean? Because we got along. One time my car was broken down. It was a rental car on the highway, and I was stranded. There was no cell phones back then, you know.
Right.
And the Warrior came. Here comes a big limo. Warrior comes. He stops. He goes, "Get in." And he had a phone in his limo. We called the rental car place, said, "Pick up my car. It died, this and that." He goes, "You're with me the rest of the tour." And I'm in a limousine with Ultimate Warrior. I mean, the shit that happened in my life is insane.